How would English sound today if it hadn't been for the Norman victory at the Battle of Hastings? Let's say that it was a Saxon victory at the Battle of Hastings. How would English sound today? Well, many people will already be commenting, "Oh, English, yay, he's finally talking about English." Or they'll just be saying, well, English is how it would sound. And this is absolutely absurd on the face of it. I mean, this is just absolutely laughable. It is very, very untrue. It is incorrect. So where is the origin of English? It is from this guy, Paul Jennings, in 1966. This is 900 years after the Battle of Hastings. He's this Australian children's author, and he had the idea that English would sound today, if it had not been for the Norman conquest. The way that we could figure that out, just take all of the French, Latin, and Greek words out of it, and that's how it would sound today. And that's just absolutely not the case. Because first of all, we have to dig into the alternate history. What kind of world are we looking at if the Norman victory, or if the Saxons have a victory at Senlac Hill? We have no way of knowing. That's trying to prove a negative. There's an impossible number of complexities that would confound trying to come up with an answer for how the world would look in that alternate history scenario. Secondly, we don't know which sound changes would or would not have happened from late Old English as it was spoken in 1066 to the modern day. We have no way of knowing what sound changes would or wouldn't have happened. We could maybe make some guesses based on sound changes that have happened in other Germanic languages, or based on sound changes that happened in English, or based on sound changes that, maybe even sound changes that haven't happened in certain Germanic languages, right? Like we see that Icelandic still has dental fricatives, we see that modern English still has dental fricatives. Maybe this version of English would still have dental fricatives. That's a guess that we could make, but there's no way that we could ever say for certain. And if we want to have fun, and if we want to do a fun thought experiment, and we're all acknowledging that this is just a fun thought experiment and that it is not going to provide us with a factual truth of how English would sound if it hadn't been for the Norman conquest, then we can do that. I've done that before. I've done that many times, and it's very fun to make guesses and to make believe about how English might have sounded if it hadn't been for the Norman conquest. And maybe it sounds more like how Frisian sounds today. But it is not an answer. It is not an objective answer. And that has to be acknowledged. And the other thing is that the big motivation behind English for most of these people, for Paul Jennings, it was just a silly joke. Rest in peace to him. He seemed like a pretty silly guy. And I respect silliness wherever I find it. But for so many of these people, it's not silly, it's sinister. They have the notion in their head that the linguistic purity of the Germanic English language is akin to the ethnic purity of the Germanic Anglo-Saxon person. And both of those ideas are insane and bad and wrong.